In May of 97, I was a lieutenant with the Cedar Park Fire Department. So I was the lieutenant at Station 1, and we operated 2 stations and 2 crews back then. We were pretty small back in 97. The morning of May 27th, Cedar Park was assisting out at Lake Travis on a body recovery, and I was part of our dive rescue team. And we actually got a call from our station saying the weather's starting to not look good, and they'd like us to clear off of that recovery and head back to Cedar Park. So we very quickly got back to the station, changed into dry gear, got on our fire trucks, and went mobile in the city. I didn't get 20 blocks. So I came out of Old 183, turned left on Park Street, went across 183, and at the corner of Park and Cardinal, the house was hit by the tornado, and it threw wood and debris into the side of our fire truck. The very next thing I heard on the radio was a major call at Albertsons due to the tornado hitting there first, and then they needed all units to respond there. And we turned around and we were the first truck into Albertsons. While we found a lot of damage there, the store manager had recognized the signs of the weather and gotten most everyone back in the cooler. And after he did a head count, we found, number one, this produce manager was missing. And then the police department had to go up and down all of the parking lots area and identify every car. But we're trying to match cars to people and see if we had anyone missing or not, because that's Albert's store is pretty large and pretty much the entire attic came in. So we didn't know how many people we had missing. It took a day and a half to track down every owner of every car. I mean, that cooler provided structural protection to them that even though the roof and stuff came down, there were no injuries whatsoever. As soon as you open the cooler door, there was, nothing dented in on the cooler. So, I mean, knowing that his produce manager was pretty seriously injured, knowing that there were places in the store we couldn't even get to because how much debris, he saved a lot of lives that day. And, you can't ever say 100% how many, but there was a very good chance if he didn't do what he did, that there would have been some fatalities or a lot of serious injuries in that store that day. We had an emergency room doctor that was in the area, and he's taking multiple pictures, and one of them is actually the Albertsons being hit. We had set up our aerial truck, and we saw a cloud coming out of Albertsons, and we learned that their aisles were like their bleaches and their chemicals were right next to the aisles of their motor oils and different things. Well, those things, when the roof fell in, bunch of those containers broke open, and we actually had a hazmat release going off in that store. So we had to call in a hazmat cleanup team that had to get all those chemicals neutralized and get everything taken care of before we could then get with a structural engineer and get the wall that was still trying to collapse safely taken down and to a point where the building was safe enough for the rest of to turn back over to Albertsons and let their employees start looking at things and figure out how they're going to rebuild. And that tornado actually hit 3 parts of Cedar Park that day. It started by hitting over at the train station at the rail yard, and it dumped over a diesel locomotive that was spilling over 1,500 gallons of diesel on the ground. And Leander Fire Department responded to that. Then it hit Albertsons, and Cedar Park responded to that. We had Austin come up with a task force to help us. And then it hit Buttercup, and we had our volunteers in Jollyville and other departments coming to help. And then I can't remember if it was the APD Academy or the DPS Academy, but they actually brought their entire cadet class out and had them in Buttercup in the neighborhoods checking IDs and making sure people weren't going in there and looting. We had our normal 2 crews that day. So, and like I said, initially we were at Lake Travis, so we were down to 1 crew. When Gerald hit first, what I remember was Georgetown, Round Rock, the central part of Williamson County all went to Gerald, including a bunch of the EMS units. So when it hit us next, we couldn't look to our normal partners to the east or even our normal partners in Williamson County. So we had to look more towards Austin and Travis County. We all made do, but it was overwhelming on a lot of our resources back in that day. I think we all learned a lot of lessons that day, and we changed, and emergency management became a bigger focus. Weather safety became a bigger focus. We did more training, weather watch training and stuff as a department. There were years after that when the weather was really bad that we would do weather watches, and we really didn't do that before then. I mean, nowadays we can rely on y'all and the computers to do a lot of that instead of sicking firefighters out in a truck to get damaged in a hailstorm and stuff like that. So, I mean, while we've learned a lot, we also gotten past it even farther with the changes in technology and the advancements in many different areas. But I think it's the biggest key still is we see too many households, too many businesses waiting to prepare for an emergency till the day of or day before. You know, everyone should have a week's worth of food in their home, or everyone should have at least a few days. We have to prepare better than a mad rush on the store every time we think something might happen. You think about the wildfires in 2011, Tropical Storm Hermine, and I never heard the rain bomb and some of the other terms that came out of that we've never had to use before. But there's probably been 3 to 5 weather events that have shaped the career and the changes that the cities have made in emergency management and the latest, the ice storm last year. You know, that's 4 of them right there that all of them, you know, we continue to learn from, and at some time continue to guess what Mother Nature is going to throw at us.